Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games in a hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you like what you see, remember to hit that like button. You want to see more? Hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is it, Pro Cycling Manager 2019, finally out, release day, and this is Career Mode, episode number 1. So we're going to jump right into things. I already have acquired the World Database 2019, but because it's on launch day, they don't yet have the photos up. So we'll see as that updates over time. Now, if you've watched my channel for a while, you would know that I've already been doing Pro Cycling Manager, the last couple editions actually. This will make my 3rd straight on that. This will also make my 6th straight edition of the game overall. Now, of course, in career mode, you're going to manage a team. A complete team. All the riders throughout. For me, well, that's going to be Decathlon Gamer Racing. We're going to have a custom team. But let's take a quick look at the teams out there. So, just the World Tour teams, at least. So, AG2R, 3.5 stars. Asana, 4 stars. Bahrain Merida, EF Education First, 3.5 stars. Groupama FTJ, 4-star team. Jumbo Visma, formerly known as Lotto NL Jumbo, 4 stars. Ineos, who's that? That's Team Sky. Team Sky is no more. It is now Team Ineos. Change happened May 1st. Sunweb, 4 stars. Trek Segafredo. Those are the teams. Those are the World Tour teams. I'll be racing against them often, but I've got some work to do to get there. A lot of work to do to get there, because we're going to start at the bottom. Now, my career mode for 2018, well, we started with the worst possible team and started building from there. I'm not going to quite go for the worst possible team this year. We're going to start a little bit higher up. And by the way, difficulty level's up this year. But we're definitely going to start with a low-level team, a Continental team. So, I'm going to start setting some things up, and we'll cut back in a moment, and you'll see where we're at. American YouTuber, American team, and there's actually only one choice on jerseys here. I don't know if this is because it's launch day and not much is set up yet, besides trying to get the actual teams down pat. So, even though I don't even use this, and my bike is not this, we are going to be that. That's okay. Sponsorships change over time. We are trying to stay within the constraints of Continental, and I did have to back out of a few rider choices for the team, but I did pre-select some riders that I was wanting to get primarily as the best young talent, which was what was suggested to me in comments during the 2018 career mode. So, among that best young talent, we have picked up the following riders: Logan Owen, Banijek, Mater, Vashek, McNulty, Cassart, Narvaez, William Barta, Evenepoel, Sepkus, Cantor, and then after that I kind of get down into just filling in the team, as those were the best young riders. Here's some additional: Cantor, Brian, Eiking, and Ermino. Eiking should be up there. I didn't have what his rating was on the previous one. I should have, but so there you go. 15 riders. Good little bit of budget spent on that. I mean, that's just under 70,000. So this is a team that should be able to move on to Continental Pro by our second season. Oh, come on. Let's see, 3, 6, 9. All right, so we're ready to jump into the calendar, and if the game resembles all the previous editions, it should be January 1st. So yes. January 1st, and we are more or less with the same setup as the previous year, UI-wise, but there's a few changes, minor changes, especially our route presentation is very different than it has been in the past. Okay, another new promotion relegation system for teams after it was changed last year. So let's see. Starting from this season, promotion relegation system will be based upon an evaluation of the squad by the Federation Team Index. So actually, this is the same one from last year. Best riders under contract for next season on 25 October will serve as a basis for this evaluation. The 18 best teams based upon this ranking will race during 2020 in the SIA World Tour Division. The next 24 in the Continental Pro Division and the remainder in the Continental Division. Transfer market is therefore a key time period during which teams must make sure that they sign the best riders. Okay, so that's actually the same. Welcome to your position at the head of the team. We are currently a Continental Division team, but our sponsors will not hesitate to free up extra funding if you reach the division above. Good luck. Currently, we have a balance of 100,000. Yes, preseason. Okay, to begin the 2019 season, we need to know the starting levels of your riders' preparation. Riders can begin with the level of preparation, so this is the same as last year. Higher level of preparation allows the rider to directly be in good condition for the first races of the season, but on the other hand, the rider has generated slightly more tiredness due to the extra work required to reach such a level. Starting levels are adjustable on the pre-season page. I find you don't need to put anyone on low and bring them up later, just the way the mechanics work. Preparation of calendar, and yes, this is the same calendar being split up into 4 registration periods throughout the year. So splitting it up into chunks, making sure your calendar is set for anything and everything throughout the year on that. Let's go ahead and start by looking at our sponsor that only cares about the US. Okay, so there is no secondary, there's no backup nations. They're only caring about what riders we have for the US. Now, our budget right now is $100,000 per month, and we are spending just under $70,000. So we actually have a good chunk of budget cap space already heading into next season. And our estimation max is double that at a couple $100,000. So we actually could, if we do well this season, we could see our budget go through the roof, and we could use this sponsorship all the way up into the World Tour. And this is already more than I had in the last game, the last playthrough. I was only just starting to eclipse the budget that I have right now with the squad. So if we do bad, we'll lose our sponsorship. And it looks like we're looking at, let's see, a 13,000 decrease, or a 12,000, or a 25,000 increase. So it does scale up or down. So yeah, if we have a really good season, we could see that budget go up quite a bit next season, and we could really put together a powerful Continental Pro Team, and within a year or two, or a few years anyway, we could see ourselves hitting the World Tour. I like that. That's good. Okay, big races of the year, Tour of Oman, and that's early too. That's our biggest one. Mallorca. Sarth? I don't know that one. It's a different one. Tour of Utah and Tour of Colombia. Excuse me. Alright, here's actually the full list. Let's go by date, because that, of course, matters the most. So, Mallorca coming up right at the end of the month. Stage wins, top 10s, top 5s, stage win, top 10s, top 5s, some top 3s already. Stage win, Colorado Classic. Alrighty, so there's some work to do, sponsorship-wise, especially getting a lot of top 5s and top 3s out there. Hopefully we can contend for those. Okay, so squad evaluation. They don't find Sepp Kuss particularly popular. Okay. Compared to my last team, that's a pretty well-known name. They are satisfied with the number of riders out of the U.S. Glad I got enough there. And Sepp Kuss is the most popular rider on the team and also in the U.S. And that, actually, for the U.S. nationally is okay-ish evaluation. So we're already in a decent position just based on the squad without even coming up on racing and objectives. So happy with that. Equipment suppliers. Quota with limited R&D. Those are the same wheels that I have on my bike. And we have Shimano for the group set. Okay. Now, this appears to be the same setup as last year, meaning the final day of July we'll be signing our sponsorship deal, which, from the looks of this, we're actually going to stick with this sponsor because why not? They have high earning potential for the team. And our our investment already is going to be a lot more than what we're spending. So we should be able to hire some staff, especially here early on. Well, let's go ahead and look through all the riders then, this way, and see potential. So Erminel has good potential. Evenepoel has great potential. Cantor's okay on that. Sepp Kuss, ooh. So in last year's game, he had very high potential. I think it was between a 5 and 7. Here it's a 1 and 3. Mader has good potential. McNulty has very high potential. Narvaez has good potential. Ooms has good potential. That was a good pickup. Owen. Vacek doesn't have the high potential on here, so he'll be a 1 and done for us. Banishek, pretty low as well, so they've changed this up a lot from last year, or just some of it's at random. Barta, good potential. Brian, random pickup, not so good. He might not stay long term. Cassart, fairly good. Depends on whether he's closer to a 3 or a 6. So, quite a few of these guys are definitely high potential ones that will plan on keeping with the team through their career. Especially with a budget that allows me to afford those guys. So we'll start by looking at the staff. And I have 2 trainers, and they're both groundbreaking. Let's go ahead and bring in some new staff right away. I'm going to need somebody who's traditional. I'm going to need somebody who's modern to join us. I don't need to spend $20,000 on somebody legendary, but we can definitely afford some better trainers. National, I think, would be a good reach for us. Somebody we can, afford, but it's going to be at least somewhat quality. There you go. Kovacs, sure. Can I not have more than 3? Okay. One thing I'm going to go for is I want 2 doctors, as we have the ability to be in 2 places at once. So we're going to hire a second doctor. And that's pretty cheap, actually. There you go. I have at least one American on staff, right? Get a second scout. Now these guys get expensive fast. There you go. Gonzalo Bernal. Could you get us somebody named Bernal? I'd be happy with that. I would be very happy with that. Yes, I would. Ooh, that's a bit of a signing on fee, though. Yeah, maybe we don't want to spend quite that much. Frank, okay. You're more affordable. Let's go for that. I still need a traditional. Let's get one more trainer, a traditional one. I don't need somebody crazy expensive, so we'll get a Galapan. There you go. All right, staff filled out, and here's our calendar as of right now. I'm going to quick scan to make sure we don't have any triplicate race periods. We've got actually a lot on the calendar already, to the point where I don't think I'm going to need to affect the calendar at all. National time trial, that's okay to be a triplicate. A little bit of a quiet final period. But otherwise, it actually looks like we've got a pretty busy schedule already. Busier than I expected for a Continental team. Yeah, it's a lot of races going on. And quite a few sponsor objectives in there. The first few months. Before we jump into our first race, our equipment set. Our Quota frames, really nice. Really nice. They are full 4 stars in the areas they need to be. Not quite there on the reliability and feeling, but some definite quality. Wheels, yeah, not so sure about that one. We're definitely not quite there, though we've got some good time trial ones, but the reliability and feeling are pretty nasty on these and could affect us a bit. Into my planner and figuring out the first races, the primary focus definitely comes down to sponsor objectives first and foremost. So I build my schedule around that. And you can see that my first 4 races are all sponsor objective related. So by objective, here in Mallorca, we're looking for a stage win. Marseille, top 10 overall. It's a classic. It's one stage. Colombia, top 5 for that one. And then Oman, a stage win. So we're looking for how, profile-wise, to do that best. Like, so Marseille, top 10 overall, it's hills. So the guys I'm grabbing right now are punchy climbers. That are going to be able to do relatively well. Like, he's not great overall, Vasic, but 65 on hills, that's his strong suit. He'll survive for a little while on that. And so we'll get him into that race, and we're kind of building from there. Now, for Mallorca, I need a stage win. 4 stages. There's definitely 2 opportunities on the flat, so I've got my sprinters there. And then we've got a hill and a mountaintop. So I'm going to go for my best pure climbers into this one. And you can see Sepp Kuss is a definite opportunity on that one. Vanderpoel, maybe. Mater is definitely. Cantor, another sprinter that's still available. So maybe we'll bring... Yeah, we'll bring him. Iking, definitely better in the mountains than the hills, as is McNulty. Now, Mallorca, we have enough now, so that's fine. McNulty's a 68 in hills. Vanderpoel's a 70. Let's go ahead and bring him. And then McNulty. So there's our first round. Now, Colombia and Oman overlap as well. And then actually the next race, likewise. Italia, mostly sprints. But Colombia, we've got 3 sprints and 3 climbing stages. And we need a top 5 in that race. That's going to be a little bit tougher. Now, Oman, we need a stage. And there's 4 sprint stages. So I definitely need to send my sprinters to Oman. So sprinters to Oman, which means we'll pretty much have the same group. Could be a lead out. Nervez. It's a punchy guy. Oh, that's right. That was my Hills group. There we go. Cantor. So this is how I build my schedule anyway. And I'll continue building my planner out pretty much till the end of February. And then should be able to jump into our first race here in just a moment. Santos Tour Down Under ends with Rafael Maica winning over Bauke Mollema and Nairo Quintana. Teams for the Tour de France have been announced, in addition to the 18 World Tour teams. Vital Concept, Arkea Samsic, Direct Energy, and Cofidis will be joining them as the Continental Pro teams. Next season will be eligible for those type of selections, as we should be making our way up into Continental Pro. This season, though, we are ineligible for all of those bigger races, so our calendar is pretty well set already. Stage number 1 is going to be 170 kilometers and pretty much completely flat, so we're going to be looking for our sprinters in this one. And we're going to jump into the later end of the race where the action gets good. Still got just under 60 kilometers to go, and we're coming up on
another attack in the leading group.
A competition point for the mountain standings. 1 kilometer away from the summit right now. You can see the breakaway group going over the top right now. Now I'm back a little bit early, primarily for those who are new to Pro Cycling Manager. And we're going to get kind of a little overview of what some of the features are. Now, for more detail, as I'm going to send Cassart back to get water for us to the end of the race here. For more detail on this, I'm actually putting together a tutorial video on career mode, and I'll have one on pro cycling mode as well, and I'm doing a series for both, so be sure to check that out as well. But for more detail, check out those tutorials. That'll have a lot more information than what you're going to get here with the basics of this series. One thing I just did was I sent Cassart to get water. You've got to make sure you keep your riders hydrated. That one should be obvious. Now, green bar, that's your stamina. It's affected by this number here in each rider's attributes ratings. So you can see Cassart actually really weak at just a 56. By the way, 56 very low here in the game. 70 and above is where you start getting into a good territory. 80 and above on anything means they are excellent, one of the best. So 56, that's extremely low. Anything below about 65 is actually really bad. So Cassart is our domestique, meaning he's our workhorse. He's not quality. Now, this green bar, stamina, it's all affected by the longer races, longer stages, as we're down to 27 kilometers. You can see that's our distance to go to the finish here. Current speed, this is our elevation change, up or down. So negative number, downhill. Positive number, uphill. That's degree of elevation change. So right now we're under 1 degree, meaning it's pretty flat through here. That's the wind speed, kilometer based, and these are upcoming competition points. The red is climbs, green is sprints. And then of course you have the finish line, which is the main one that determines winner. You get points for the sprints, for the climbs. You should know, if you know cycling, that's all pretty basic stuff.
The pack is increasing its work rate. Some teams can't be happy with the breakaway. There's nobody out in front, so with less than 20 kilometers to go, it's beginning to look as though it's going to end in a mass sprint. The escapees have surrendered. The pack gave them no chance.
Okay. Commentary hasn't changed at all. Same stuff. Wish they'd do an update on that, but hey, there's always 2020. Now, the P stands for peloton, French word. Basically, it means main group. There's 152 riders in it. That's the 152. This is the jerseys. So those are the various ones, but that's just an idea of what riders are contained within it. This is the stage profile. You can see it's relatively flat throughout, all the way to the finish. This is where we're at right now. This is the distance for the front rider, whoever that is, which right now is Ferrari, of the entire group. That's his distance to the finish line, 19.8 kilometers. That's distance to a climbing point, distance to a sprint point. We are done with those for the day. It's all behind us. That's why there's nothing there. Now that green bar doesn't really go down unless you have a longer stage, 180 plus kilometers. That's where that becomes an effect and is taken into account, and it's going to go down quicker for somebody who's bad versus somebody who's good. And you look at my team, Cassart, he is the lowest of anybody in terms of stamina right now, as like Sepp Kuss is quite a bit higher on his green bar. That's his heart rate. That's his water, hydration. This is his relative position within the group. So that means they're at the front, in the middle of the pack, or at the back of the group. And you can see all my guys are at the front. Yellow bar, their ability to push, to attack. Long term. That's affected by resistance. This blue means he's used up a fair amount of his ability to attack, but under the right circumstances, it can recover. This darker section is unrecoverable for the day. It's done. It won't come back even if he's relaxed and kind of sitting up and just riding easy. Red bar is your short-term ability to attack. We'll start with that. Let's go ahead and get to it. I have just under 20 kilometers left in this one, and today is a sprint stage. Some people use just their sprint group, their sprint train, for something like this. As we get down to 18 kilometers, it's time to get set for this. I use everyone. That's preference, but I use everyone for this. I go from further out. I try to get my team into a good position, provide them a good lead out, get my sprinter into the best position at the finish to attack, and hopefully pick up a victory. So what I've done is I've selected everyone. I've set them all to maintain position and effort level 99. That's what that 99 is for. So that's your effort level. That's this bar. Now I've got to figure out, and I'm not familiar enough with my team just yet, who's who and what's what. But this is their sprint. That's their max speed. This is their acceleration. That's their ability to get there to that max speed, how quickly they get there. The 63, 68, not so good, but not terrible. Cassart, though, pretty bad. Now, Cantor is a 72, 72. That's somebody who can sprint, and he's on a +1 race day condition. Coming into all that kind of detail later. Ermino, he's okay. Banishek, a 72, 71. That's decent. Not quite as good as Cantor, though. Brian, he's a 72, 73, but he's also got a +1, meaning he's actually a 73, 73 today with that race day condition of a +1. Something we'll talk about later. Mater's got some decent acceleration, but not a sprinter. So Brian's the best, at least today. And so I'm going to line him up behind Cantor. And we'll line him up behind Banishek. So those are 3 sprinters. And then Ermino has a decent ability to go fast. And then Mater is okay. And then we have Cassart. Now, our team leader is Sepp Kuss. I don't want him involved in this, but what I do, and this is where I use everyone and others don't do this, is I'm going to put him at the very back of the group so he can catch a free ride, be near the front, not have to give a lot of effort, just in case. That way he doesn't accidentally get dropped and lose time. But I'm not looking to have him sprint. Brian is my sprinter. So Cassart, our lead out guy. 18K to go. I'm going to set his effort onto push. But I'm not going to have him push at a 99. I'm going to have him push first at a 92. And let's go ahead and get things started. So what this is going to do is this is going to put my entire team in a line. By the way, for those of you who are experienced Pro Cycling Manager players, viewers, those of you who watch my previous series, I will not be doing tutorial outside of the actual tutorial videos beyond this first episode. But this is to catch on to those new riders. So you can see Cassart, okay, at a 92 here. It's enough to kind of get us towards the front, but we're not even all the way to the front. These guys are actually working even harder. And by the way, these are World Tour riders. So we are a bit overmatched in this And by the way, the favorite for this stage, Peter Sagan, the best bike rider in the world. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to win every race he goes out there and does. The guy's a phenomenal talent. He's not even necessarily the best sprinter out there, but in the right circumstances, he is. Today, not really the right circumstances, so there's a chance that he can be beaten. But he is well above my sprinters, so it's going to be difficult. Now, Cassart is leading the effort. He's got a line of my team. But at 92, it wasn't even enough to outpace all of these guys. But we're down to 14.6 kilometers, so he's bringing us along, which is what I needed him for. But you can see his moderate attack effort getting pretty low. His short term, once this runs out, he's going to lose a lot of pace. Which means as soon as this is gone, I'm going to turn the things over to Mater, and Mater's going to take over. Now he's set it at 99, but that's too strong. But a 92, clearly not getting him to the front. So I'm going to go to a 93 to try to push up a little bit further. And Cassart, his job's done. So Madar pushing at a 93. Again, just struggling. My team's not at the level of these riders around me. So it's going to be really difficult to get something out of this. By the way, this is a sponsor objective. I've got 4 stages to do it. So we're down to 10 kilometers. That's actually a bit short of where we need to be for us to be pushing this hard. But Ermino right now, riding on the wheel of Gato, not overcommitting. But now that we're getting down to 7 kilometers, by the way, do you have, oh, okay, there we go. Energy gel, good. Okay, it's time to start getting out ahead. So we're going to go 96 now. Ermino, it's going to push harder. You can see this is starting to fade a bit faster.
Entering the last 5 kilometers of the stage.
Banishek, a 97 effort. We're up to 4.5K. I'm down to the last 2 lead out guys and then Brian. Now here was the whole point of what I'm doing. Here's, oh, Brian, why are you behind Cantor? Get out there. Get in the open. There you go. Alright. The whole point is getting my sprinter into the best possible position. And with just 3 kilometers left, it is just about time. So Banishek is going to start pushing a 99 here. Reason for that is here come the other sprinters. In fact, there's already Michael Woods. Why is he out front now? There's Peter Sagan. There, oh, Dan McClay. Okay, so Michael Woods leading out Dan McClay. So there's a sprinter. Peter Sagan, there's a sprinter. Those are probably the top 2 competitors. If Brian is ahead of them, he's at least got a minor chance of staying ahead. If he's behind, there's no way he's catching them. They're better sprinters. And that's why a good lead out is very important. Now, Banishek has just run out of energy, so his job is done. And we're going to be on to Cantor. We've got 2.3 kilometers to the finish line. And Cantor's got to come over the top now. He's going to try to pull Brian along. Now, 1.4 kilometers. Cantor's still got a lot of energy. So does Brian. I'm going to have Cantor sprint from here. By the way, here's Sepp Kuss. He's just catching a ride. Remember, it's Brian who's going to sprint. Cantor's going to start his sprint now. Brian is going to stay behind him.
It's going to be very fast.
Now you can see how they're starting to pull ahead. Now we're only 800 meters from the finish line. As soon as we come around this corner, I'm going to have Brian sprint as well. There we go. That's the finish line. Here's McClay coming over the top of Matty Breschel. He's going for the sprint. Brian is not in a good enough position. He's probably not going to beat McClay, but he should be able to manage a good finish. Top 5, top 3, we'll see. But Cantor, out of energy, so it's definitely time to send Brian, but I'm also going to send everyone from here. But we ride with Brian, our first ever sprint here in career mode. He's got an opening, so he should be able to get... Oh, Cantor blocked him for just a second. Look how much faster these guys are. Sagan, Nizzolo, McClay, Vanderhorn. Dan McClay takes the win. Brian only manages a top 7, so ouch. Cantor takes 12th. Brian didn't take off quite as quickly as I thought he would. His acceleration's a 73, so I needed to send him slightly sooner, but at the same time, you look at what's left of the bar, not much. So I really could have only sent him 20, 30 meters earlier, possibly. So that's about as good as it's going to get. Now, against Continental teams, we're going to be good. Top 4 guys, top 4 guys are all World Tour riders, all sprinters. Those are guys that are going to be really difficult for a Continental team. I'm in the 3rd tier. Those guys are all in the 1st tier. So the fact that we're even spending our first race going head-to-head with them is, well, like the achievement said, baptism by fire. Difficult circumstances to try to take a win when we are massively outmatched. The lead out was about as good as it could get. I like the new font. It stands out a lot more than last year's. So we do manage a top 10 anyway. It would have been nice to get a top 5 or a top 3. I'm not sure we're going to get that stage win that our sponsor demands of us. And this could be a bad start to our relationship with the sponsor, just because of how much we are outmatched. I mean, look at Dan McClay. 75s, yeah, that's not that much better than what I have. The resistance is higher. He's better on the flat. It all kind of adds up. His teammates are going to give him a better lead out as well. Mazzolo, 76s. Sani, 75, 77. Peter Sagan, 79, 81. The 81 on cobbles, that's your best in the world right there. Nobody's better than him. Vanderhorn, 72s. So we could get higher than we got. I mean, we got a 73, 72 guy. I think we could crack the top 5. Hopefully, in this race. Ooh, nice. I like the rework on the icons up here. Okay, so in the general, you got time bonuses for the top 3 finishers and the sprint points earlier on. 10 seconds to take the win. Dan McClay picks up 25 points in the sprint competition by winning the stage. Mountain climbers competition are just on those M's out there. The 5, 4, 3, 2s, so on. The under 25s competition. So this is a competition within the competition for the younger riders. Brian was 3rd best at the finish. And this is the overall team classification. Your top 3 riders to cross the line. Time is taken by that 3rd rider crossing the line. And we actually had the highest finish of that 3rd place rider. And that's 1 stage in the books. Now this is a 4-stage race, so you're taking your cumulative over those 4 stages for the overall. So you have an overall race, and then you have a stage-by-stage race. My sponsor for this one cares about the stage-by-stage. They want that stage victory, and that's what we're going to push for. So this is the overall standings. Brian in 9th. You got Cantor, Koos are all up there. Koos would have been that 3rd guy across the line, so in 19th. We were the first team to get that 3rd rider across the line. Here's a profile for stage 2. You can see this one's a little bit more punchy. They actually have it classified as mountains. I wouldn't classify that as mountains. There's one relatively significant climb, but it's early enough that it's going to do damage, but not crazy damage. But it is a little bit of a climb to the finish line as well at 150 kilometers. You get information on the stage. This has not changed from last season at all. These are the top 10 favorites for the stage. Kruiswijk is the favorite. Rigoberto Uran, Michael Woods are all here. Pozzovivo, that's a big lineup. That has a top 10 that does not include my riders, and it's going to be difficult on this stage to maintain. I mean, TJ Van Garderen is here, and he's not even on the top 10 favorites. This is the equipment we bring because there's climbing involved. We're focused on the lightness, but I think could push for a little more aero. Try to be quicker. Like, if we all went to this front wheel, take away a little bit of lightness, and we could get it 1.5 stars more of aero. And we could actually do it here with this as well. We apply that to the entire team. Well, no, not the entire team. Like, I don't want Cassart. I want my sprinter. Well, no, well, we won't change it. I'm not going to mess with that. And then your strategy. The strategy, though, is completely is set to if you quick sim the
The
races.
strongest teams will certainly take hold of the race as soon as the road starts to rise so as to help their climbers. It is under a bright sun that today's race will be run.
Ready to roll out on stage number 2. But before I get that going, I'm out of time for this episode. So, quick recap. We only got the first stage in, but this is going to be a long-running series. I'm actually still running my career mode for PCM 2018. It's already 60-plus episodes in. My Pro Cyclist mode just wrapped up, and it had more than 70 episodes in it. And I actually expect that this series is going to be quite a bit longer because we're going to be rolling out 2 new episodes every week. They'll all have a little bit of extra here this first week and a half. I'm looking to have 6 episodes this first week and a half of the series coming out. So expect 2 new episodes every week for a long time coming. I'll be doing lots of edits, and unlike this first episode where we set things up and we're preparing ourselves and kind of getting things going, in the future, lots of stages, 4 or 5 covered in every episode, with the cuts in between for the sake of time so we can fit that content in. But if you like what you see, be sure to hit that like button and tune in next time. And that second episode should be coming in a very short period of time as soon as I can get it rolled out. But with editing, rendering, posting, and I've got the career mode and the Pro Cyclist mode to cover. It's going to throw things off a little bit, take a little more time than it does to produce episodes. But I definitely look to bring you as much content as I can for this series for a long time coming. A year from now, when Pro Cycling Manager 2020 comes out, that should be about the time that this series is going to wrap up. Thanks for tuning in. Bye for now.